Pick a card. How do you influence people? Here are your options, and I'll see you at your reading. Hi friends, my name is Crystal with Untitled Tarot. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you also for all the new subscriptions and the comments. I appreciate it. Pile number 1. You chose this image on the right side of the screen, and we're here to look at how do you influence people. So without further ado, let's jump right in. How do you influence others? Pile number 1, you're the sun, conscious mind, masculine, and life force. I feel like you influence people actually by setting an example by things that you do. They emulate your life. I feel like you bring things forward into their conscious mind, whereas people go about things in a robotic manner. You have the ability to bring things into their awareness, and it's like, hey, have you noticed that you've done this, that, and the other over and over, and it's a pattern. But I don't feel like you lead a horse to water necessarily in that way. I feel like you go about things a lot more subtly. And I feel also that you don't approach people necessarily and go, hey, did you notice this about you? Like you're not trying to be a teacher kind of a thing. I feel like you're more the leader type, and people come to you and go, well, what are you doing that's so different? Or how do you get there? That kind of a thing. Pile number 1, I definitely feel like how you influence people is you help them to get in touch with what it is that they're really thinking, feeling, and doing. Get involved with their conscious mind, and also I feel like you help them to see, is it in alignment with what they want? Are they doing things in a subconscious manner that isn't beneficial to their life or their life path and things like that? I also feel like you influence people by giving them like life force and drive and confidence to be able to pursue what it is that they want. I feel like also you influence people, you basically lift them up. I feel like you help them see where they're at, but you really lift them up and give them vitality and show them, you can actually do this. And there are ways to take care of what it is that you want, or to get right on the right track. So I feel like you could have people around you who are maybe not on the right path, life path, or on the wrong tracks, right? Maybe they veered off and steered off course and lost hope, or become robotic, or a combination thereof. And I've been there, done that as well. So this is really beautiful. I also feel that you illuminate things for people, that you make things clear, an awareness, if you will. Pile 1. You influence people by helping them breathe. Oh, you can't show that on YouTube, gee. Let's give her some clothing. Ta-da! Beautiful, beautiful. Pile number 1, you influence people by allowing them time to breathe, by really parting the clouds in their minds, by helping them to get centered. And you know what I love about you, pile number 1, is that you don't pretend to be the sun. You allow the sun to be the sun, and you just to be a vessel, maybe even a channeler. Because I feel like you help people to get in touch with their third eye, to get in touch with their own intuition, and you help them to really breathe deep, to pause, to smell the roses, if you will. Pile 1, I feel like you are somebody who has powerful qualities, and I don't think that you even recognize that or tout it as being so. But your influence on people is that very much just like the sun. The sun helps things to grow. When you're gardening, you plant things, and the sun has to be out for most things anyway, in order to germinate, and so on and so forth. And I feel like you help them to get in touch with their own energy, their own intuition. And it's really powerful, because I feel like in your presence, a lot of people actually find themselves, pile number 1. And I love that for you. What? Somebody else who's dressed YouTube appropriate. Don't we love it? Pile 1, how do you influence people, is the star. You help them to really listen to their intuition. A lot of people have no idea, or claim they have no idea what it is that they want. What do they want from life? What do they want from self? What trajectory they want to head towards. They are just kind of like hoping it'll stick, that kind of a thing. And I think about Alice in Wonderland. It's like, well, where are you going? And Alice is like, well, just you know, anywhere, that kind of a thing. And any path will get you anywhere if you walk long enough is a point to that. But pile number one, I feel like you help people to get really balanced, to really pour out their emotions, and maybe even people get compelled to really pour out their emotions towards you, to be like, yeah, I did this and it didn't work, or I used to dream about this and I kind of lost that dream into adulthood some way, somehow. I feel like you help people to really stop and smell the roses, but also to really look at the stars and admire them once again, and to dream and have hope. With the star, this is a card of healing. So pile one, I feel like you really help people to heal on a very deep level. We have the stars and the sun. Very beautiful right here. What else do we have? Okay, so you teach people. You're a teacher. You are a teacher. So you could be a professional educator. Doesn't necessarily have to be. The lessons that you give are a lot deeper. Ooh, that sounded really awful. I apologize. So that's not what I mean. I feel like the lessons that you give they're a lot more spiritual than going into the educational system is what I mean. Okay. So I feel like you help people to really get in touch, get their own downloads, and then work in such a manner that they are working towards something that that honors their own spirit. I hope that makes sense. Pile one, I feel like you help people to gain confidence as well. The sun is yellow, even though these cards are purple. And I'm looking at all this yellow. And I feel like that you help people invest time. That is time, energy, effort, blood, sweat, and tears. You help people perfect a craft in such a manner that it gives them self-esteem. You help them work on the self-esteem. I think that's a very beautiful thing. That's how you influence people. That's how you impact them. What? We have the sun, the star, and the moon. Pile number one, you help people to take time, set time aside to really reflect, to go within, to really check in with their heart chakra. I feel like a lot of us are just completely shut down. We are mechanical, we are bionical, we're going about things in such a manner is like, well, you know, this is how it's always been done. But I feel like you're an agent of change with the 51 right here, the 5 representing change, and the 1, it's returning back to self, back to, okay, what is it? Let's just simplify things. What is it that I really need to get back towards? And I feel like you help people to really get in tune again with the moon, their intuition and things like that. And then you help them to have little fairy wings, that you help inspire them to really see that, okay, things might not look exactly how you would think or want, but that you can still navigate and evolve and head towards a trajectory that's going to make you feel, I heard fun, but what I meant was like confident and have fun. And I feel like this is an owl. I feel like you really guide people with a lot of wisdom, and that wisdom comes from above. It doesn't necessarily come from you, I guess, on a 3D plane, okay? I feel like you're somebody who has a natural aptitude to get a radar or get a vibe or get a feeling on how people are doing, and you can help steer them. People are naturally gravitated towards you. You know, it's like the planets gravitate around the sun. I don't even know if I would call it gravitate. Revolve around the sun. What? Come together right now over me. So I feel like, okay, let's talk about giraffes for a moment. Pile number one, I feel like you impact people because you help them to see that somebody actually sees them for who they are. They see them in such a deep level and without judgment. The sun is just going to sun and the moon is just going to moon, and it's not going to, you know, judge one way or another. But I feel pile number one, that you really help elevate people. You help them to stretch out their necks, to really take a pause for a cause, and that cause being their development, their inner development, their trajectory and where they're headed. And I feel like you help them to get in touch and connect and have an overview, because the neck on the giraffe, they're really long and they can see over the trees. They could reach things that typically, you know, shorter. Those blessed with less of a neck would be able to reach. Sorry. Anyways, I feel like pile number one, you have this aptitude to be able to help connect with people on such a deep level. I feel like you're everybody's best friend in a lot of ways. And I feel like you do have a gentleness, but definitely an otherworldliness or gravitas or magnetism that really draws people to you. I feel like they get connected to you And how you influence people is that you influence them to be their most authentic self. You bring them back to self. You help them to actually elevate their game, to feel more peaceful, feel more joyful, definitely feel more confident. And also, I feel like you develop a deep connection with these people. It's unlike anything that people have experienced before, okay? And the connection is almost like the Two of Cups. It's like one of love, of connectivity, of like, I get it, mental, spiritual, and physical, like firing on all cylinders. I feel like you do it for people. I feel like also, Paul, number one, people can actually mistaken you and their feelings for you for that of love, okay? People can accidentally fall in love or think that they're in love with you, when really they're experiencing the high of being themselves, the high of maybe entering deep meditation and feeling who they really are for the first time, or being able to decompress, or being able to just be themselves and be comfortable. So how you influence people also is that you help them find, yes, their love, and you help them to birth that into existence. I almost feel like this is like the Sacred Heart. With this, is it a pelican? I don't know my birds. I need to know my birds more. That's kind of interesting, but I feel like you help bring together, it's like people's mind, body, and soul, and they have an internal gratitude towards you. It's a very powerful influence. I'm going to say that. So I'm going to say also that in the other piles, this deck right here, these jumped in clumps on the other two piles. So 2 and 3 got a bunch of these cards. And then these for you, I had to actually work at pulling. So I kept mixing until they came out. And eventually I pulled a couple out for you. So that was kind of interesting. But I feel like this energy is slow. It's like you're not free to give. You don't give freely. You don't offer, hey, let me chase you and give you answers to your life. I feel like people come towards you the same way that these cards were not flying out of the deck for you. I feel like it's just things that get sifted through spending time with you. And it may take like a little period of time. I don't feel like you're somebody who, poof, you change people's lives like that. But that's quite beautiful and quite unexpected. How do you influence people? Yeah, you cause them to go within and help them to see the battles that they've been fighting. And it could be like, let's say, for example, somebody hates their job, and it just boils down to they actually come to realization and just speaking with you. And you're like, well, why do you continue doing that? Well, don't you think that, you can find something else that you would enjoy a little bit more? Don't you think that that's worth it? That kind of a thing. But this is basically causing fights within, causing battles within, because that person can be like, well, I get a lot from stocks from these people, and that's why I stay, and I love working for whatever. I almost said IBM. That's so dated, but like Motorola, all of those escape me right now, but I think you get the point. And you really elicit like some challenge into their soul, where they go home and they think about things and they're like, well, gee, yeah, I'm getting all these like benefits, but my life is being cut short because I'm spending 20, 30, 40 years and doing something, or that's the trajectory we're on, right? Doing something that I really don't love in order to do something that is really simple, that I do love. And how much time would I be able to spend doing that? So things like this, okay? So how do you influence people? Yeah, you help people to set up, I heard a barricade, but a parameter around their life. And it's like, once you set your mind to something, be in a self-protective mode and protect that, okay? Don't allow things that don't behoove you, that don't follow the narrative that you want or isn't on the same trajectory. Why would you go flip burgers if that isn't something that you really want to do, if you have a lot of other skills? And I'm seeing these, each wand is skills, and please don't be offended. I don't feel like flipping burgers is a bad thing at all. I feel like we need to do whatever it is. And I don't feel like also people get stagnant. I think that change is warranted. And I feel like you help people to see that change is warranted. Another example is, my son is working a job, and it's what is it? It's a fast food job. And he has like, computer skills. I'm like, why aren't you using those? That's what you're going to school for. And he's in his last year of college, and he says, because I want something easy. I don't want to have to think about it. And it just is. So he's not motivated to change it, and that's where he's at. And that's fine for him. He has other reasons not to. But I'm going to say that this right here, you inspire others because you help people to see what warrants a defensible space. Am I going to, if this is something worth protecting? And they challenge your own mindset about what it is that they're doing. So I feel like long after you've parted company or parted ways, this vibrates through their spiritual mind, if that makes sense. And it really hits home with them. And they could be a little bit defensive at times, but I feel like more often than not, they come through to the other side. And with all the red right here, I feel like it pertains to stability. And I feel like they feel like that is solid advice. That's solid thinking, very pragmatic. And they really are grateful for that. And I feel like that's how you really inspire and lead other people. That's how you influence them. You influence them with love. Okay, with the Knight of Cups. And it's like, look, I have feelings, things like that. You help people get in touch with their emotions, their heart chakra, with a little fish right here. Piscean vibes, right? With all the green, this is heart chakra activation. I feel like you can help people activate their heart, that you help them to really, even he seems to be like reminiscing or like, oh my gosh, just kind of thrilled, kind of like very youthful experience. Right here is the image that I'm getting. And how you influence people is you help them get in touch with the heart chakra, what really matters to them, and to devote more time to that, to devote more merit, more weight into their lives according to that thing or those things that they really love and care for. Yeah. And you help people to be on the right side of the tracks, on the tracks where, everything is moving and it's going super well and there's not a lot of stop and goes. And people tend to really excel after encountering you. I feel like being around you, people with abundance. I saw the number 8 somewhere else. Anyways, I haven't talked to you about that. But the number 8 right here, I feel like that represents abundance. It does represent cycles and a lot of communication right here. But this helps people to really, really surf and find that door to opportunity, the window to abundance, all of those things, right? And I feel like right here, you inspire people and you influence people to really make moves, keep it moving. Let's head that way. Let's do it. And you can do it. And they actually physically get all excited about it and they improve and level up their lives, whatever that means to them. I don't feel like you have an agenda like, oh, you have to make 6 figures and you got to, do this or that. You help them attain their desire, whatever it is. And you help them ask themselves questions. Why haven't you slowed down? And, why are you in this situation? And do you think that behooves you? Is it going to help you moving forward in life? So on and so forth. Oh my goodness. I feel like we can end it right here, but we're almost done. So you help people to really be solid. I feel like I'm hearing nouveau riche. I mean, whatever. But I love this card for you because I feel like you influence people because you help them to attain what they want, but also this is like the path and door to abundance to them. So whatever it is, if they want to live in the bosque, in the forest and be among, I don't know, among Mother Nature and just living in a tent, things like that, or a yurk, then you're going to help them to really attain that by a couple of things that become major catalysts in their lives. And that's incredibly beautiful. You help them to be solid. You help them to know what is worthy to invest in. And maybe it's not like you're like, this is good, this is bad, whatever. You help them to think in a different manner and you shine the light in order for that to be effective and true for them. And then we have the moon. Something about a situation or person in life is not what it appears to be. And you need to trust what your instincts are telling you in order to see past illusion. That is exactly right. So pile number 1, how you influence people is you help them to really see past the illusion of what it is that their life is like now. So you help break through some illusions. You teach life skills in order for them to move forward. And I feel like long after you're gone from people's lives, because we're in people's lives for a season, a reason, and I don't even know a present. But I feel like you actually help them to really achieve massive goals, and you would be really surprised at how you have influenced people. And I'm hearing that, is it Dale Carnegie that book, How to Win Friends, Influence People is the book. So that could be something to do in there for you. Pile number 1, if you like that kind of reading, please do like, share, comment, subscribe. Also, this is my second channel. My first one is called PsychicMD, where I have over 700 videos for your viewing pleasure. Also, I do have giveaways in both channels. So you might want to check out both channels at the community tab and give yourself a chance to win a reading with yours truly. Love you much. Until next time, namaste. Hi, Palchu. My name is Griselle with Tough Doll Tarot, and I'm here to do your reading. Pile number 2, feast your eyes on the right hand side of your screen. Where is the image that you initially chose to come to this pile? How do you influence people? Pile number 2, we're going to jump right on in here. Speak up. Yeah, you help people to speak up. Wow, what is this? This reminds me of when I walked out of work the other day and there were a whole bunch of dragonflies around my head. Well, not exactly. They were like 2 feet away from my head, but still pretty darn close. And they were just really beautiful. So we're going to find out more about that. Use your voice to express yourself. How do you influence people? Pile number 2, heart. Emotions and intuition. Okay. So how you influence people is you help them to speak up, to use their voice, to express themselves. A lot of us didn't grow up maybe having a voice. A lot of us had difficulty expressing ourselves because those voices were suppressed. They were not welcome, and so on and so forth. Or actually, believe it or not, I'm incredibly shy. So some people could experience a lot of shyness growing up and things like that, or late development, whatever the case may be. With all this icy ground and all the peaks in the back, I feel like you influence people because if they've been like out in the cold or feeling alone and things like that, you help them to say, no, you actually have a voice in this. Your voice is valid. You are a human being, not a human doing. And it doesn't matter. The fact that you exist gives you authority and the right to really speak up and speak your truth. This looks like the sun to me, and then we've got all the birds. I feel like also you help people to speak up on what they see from an elevated point of view. You help them to speak up about their emotions, even if it's, you know, how are you feeling? And I don't know, you know, saw that one TikTok where the girl is like, oh my goodness, why did you do that? And the little girl's like, I don't know. It's just kind of funny. But you help people to get in touch with their emotions and even express it, just even speaking out, speaking up about the emotions and things like that. Whereas other people might want to stifle and stuff them and kind of ignore them, deny them, things like that. It's really powerful. It's very, very powerful and necessary. So I feel like you help people speak up about their dreams, about what is encroaching on their movement forward. I feel like how your influences felt is that you help people realize that your emotions matter, that the heart matters, and that your dreams matter. That also promises that, you know, what is it that you believe in? What is it that you've been promised, that you have faith in, and things like that. You help people to speak up about the tough times that they've navigated, that, you know, you're still here, you're still alive, you're still breathing, and I am glad. And I could hear you saying things like that. I can also hear you say, you know, express, even if you're confused and it's like, I don't know what I'm feeling. I have all these emotions. I feel something in my gut is telling me this, and I feel like this is what I see, and it seems to be conflicted. You help people to really come forth with their emotions, and by sheer expression of them, you help them to really analyze them and help them to kind of calm the waters down and not be so wild about things, as far as, you know, ambiguous is, I guess, the word. So speaking up causes less ambiguity, and it helps people see with clarity, and it also helps settle those emotions down. And you help them, you influence them by helping them to feel seen. I feel like that's a big thing in your reading thus far. Pile number 2, how's your influence felt? Also, if you're liking this kind of reading, please do like, share, comment, subscribe. I do have another channel. My first channel is called PsychicMD. If you want to go check that out, peruse over 700 videos for your viewing pleasure. The last video I made, I think, was a collaboration with the beautiful Helen. She is from the Serpent Tarot, Eye of the Serpent. And you might want to go check out her channel as well. But anyways, I have 2 readings, 2 giveaways for readings for yours truly, with yours truly. Sorry, it's super early and I'm just barely being able to talk. And in both community tabs, so you might want to check that out as well. How are you influencing people? How do you influence people? Look, ice, ice. Oh my gosh, ice, ice, baby. Yeah, we said that. Stop. Listen, the Dragon's Lair, I feel like you help people to really navigate things, okay, that have been on ice, on freeze. This could be this feels like a bat cave, okay? So you help people to really go back within, maybe even like situations where they need to navigate the past in order to understand their future and things like that. And a lot of people can say, well, the past is a past. Well, it's shaped you, it's formed you for sure. So we need to kind of deal with the stuff that's going on in there. Palette number 2, how do you influence people? You help them to face the dragon. You help them to navigate things. You help them to see that, yeah, maybe they weren't raised in an optimal way or place. And maybe things weren't perfect, but we can still deal with what the cards that we've been given. Palette number 2, number 19 reduces back to a number 1 after the 10, right? Pardon me. Details, details. Yeah, you help them to undergo a lot of transformation. You help them to sift through the rebel, not rebel. I help them. Palette number 2, you help them, look, clarity, important notes. Yeah, you help them to find things that are going to gain clarity and help them to gain leverage on their own lives, that they won't feel so alone, so isolated. I feel like you can even help people to find communities that are similar to them so they don't feel alone. That's a really big thing with people. I, for a long time, have felt super lonely. And I'm just going to say, just because you feel like you're on not an island, or you feel iced out, or you feel like nobody understands where you're coming from, or that you're just, well, in my case, just weird. Okay. So pile number 2, I'm going to tell you that I feel like you help people to find the sparkles in their lives, that you help people to find and demystify why it is that they've been feeling this way. You help validate that people have feelings and it's for a reason, that they're just not there. And, oh, I'm just too emotional, too sentimental, or, oh, you know, people say that I'm too touchy, or what is that? Emotional, I guess is the word, and so on and so forth. I feel like you help people feel validated. I feel like pile number 2, apparently this is my pile. I don't know what's going on here. Pile number 2, I feel like you help people to really educate themselves on where it is that they're at, where it is that they're coming from, and how it is that they can progress and process these emotions, these feelings. Maybe even like you act like a pseudo counselor. Maybe you are a counselor, maybe you're a therapist, things like that. But you really influence people in such a manner that they think therapy, they think self-help books. Maybe they can't afford therapy. Yeah, with the number 43, 4 is stability, and 3 is about cooperation, collaboration, things like that. So pile number 2, I just want to mention also, these cards like flat jumped out in a big old clump for you and for pile number 3. I wasn't planning on taking this much of this deck, but they wanted to be known and they fell on your respective decks. So here we are. I have no idea what's in there yet. Pile number 2, how do you influence people? Is you help them to dream. You help them to really pull forth all the resources and say, hey, it's okay to dream. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay to be like, ooh, I could be a cello player, and I could be a vocalist, and I could, you know, race cars for a living, and all these things. And I feel like you help people to have that optimism once again. But once they kind of open up the can of like dreaming and things like that and optimism, I feel like you really help them in a very pragmatic way to settle down and go, okay, so I really love all these things. I feel like this is what I want to do, and I'm confused, and I have all these things that I'm good at, or I have different little things that I could be good at or interests. But what is viable? So you help sit them down and go, okay, out of all these 7 things, which are the 2 that you have the most aptitude, the most talent, the most that you're drawn to, etc. Or maybe writing a list of all the 7 ones and say, okay, well, I would need these, all these things in order, maybe you're like a storm chaser. I don't know. So maybe that would be a dream. And it's like, okay, well, I would have to get up all hours of the day. It is, you know, you can look at the Weather Channel, but as we all know, the weather is super unpredictable. I feel like you would have to have contact with HARP, right? The weather modification system, in order to really get a good read on that. But anyways, I feel like you would go ahead and help them to kind of make notes and look on paper and say, okay, this is the most viable. I don't want to be getting up yet all hours of the day. I have a family, or I want a family, or I value my sleep, or I like to be stationed somewhere that feels like home. I don't want to be living at hotels and unpredictability or putting my life in danger, so on and so forth. So I feel like you help people to validate those are like interesting things, and maybe you can take up, you know, place 1 as far as your focal point, and then 2, 3, and 4 could be like hobbies and things like that. So you don't totally ixnay them. You give them validation, but you help them to face scary things from their past, I feel like, in a very powerful way. And also, how you influence people is, I feel like you help them to get in tune with nature some way, somehow, looking at all the birds or birds on top. And I don't know what this is. It's a swarm of something, butterflies in the winter. I'm not sure. If you guys know, let me know. I guess I could have read the book, but we don't want to make this like 35 minutes long. Pile number 2. Yeah, you're like a compass for people. Yes. Okay. So the tower, pile number 2, I feel like you help people face their tower. Like they could be right in the middle of things. They can't, I was not expecting this card, by the way. I feel like you help them to face their darkness. You help them to see that, you know what, this tower has already fallen. They've already filed for divorce, or you've already lost your job, or kids have already moved away from the home, and now it is your time to be an empty nester. What are you going to do about it? Or it could be anything. You could have broken up with friends, with family. That friend could have turned into a frenemy, all the things, right? And I feel like you help people to come from serious places in life, maybe even like physical issues. Okay. Right now I'm getting like physical therapy and things like that. But I feel like you help people to come in, pardon me, come to a place in life where they can actually evaluate and accept things, or look at things for how they really are, instead of through a lens of sheer fantasy. And that's really powerful. You help people in that way because I feel like you have firsthand experience with pain. Everybody does, right? But firsthand experience really deciphering, digesting, and maybe sitting in things and finally speaking up and facing your own demons and slaying the dragon, or maybe even just facing the dragon and saying, hey, you stay over there, I'm gonna go grab a couple things and I'm out, kind of a thing. So I feel like you're definitely a leader. You influence people by helping them to face their tower. You're probably at the spot of like, you could be like a first respondent, EMT, or somebody who just comes at the right time, at the right place for somebody who's in the middle of a crisis, or like a breakup, an abandonment, a shakeup, that kind of a thing. So these are the piles that jumped out for you, and I'm kind of curious as to why they want to be known so hard. How do you influence people? You help them. Okay. You help people and you influence people by helping them to see, is this viable? You spending a lot of time and energy on these beautiful pentacles, on these sunflowers. Do you want to grow them for food? Do you want to grow them and pick them and have the seeds? Do you want to repropagate those seeds? And so on and so forth. You help them to see, is this growing? Am I putting any time and energy and effort into something that is growing? Is it going to be worthwhile? So that they can avoid future tower moments. We're not always going to be avoiding tower moments, but you can definitely navigate and have less of them. If you are pragmatic. A lot of us live in fantasy land, myself included, by the way. I've experienced a ton of towers, so this is no shade on that game, okay? A lot of tower moments. So pile number 2, how do you influence people? Yeah, you help people to move on. You help people to take, that's exactly. Reinforcing, you help them leave the darkness, leave whatever veil behind. And also, I'm getting right here, some people could feel cursed. They could feel being held back. They could feel like they have black magic on them. And I feel like you help them to navigate and move away from that. Okay, so I'm not saying that's true or untrue. I'm just saying that you can help people to take, you know, what is important, take all their life experiences and to move on into calmer waters. It's incredibly beautiful. How do you influence people? Yeah, you give people clarity. You help people also to learn how to really dissect their own life or their own behavior and things like that in order to use the Ace of Swords, right? And eventually you help them to really attain a lot. This is giving me like Louis Vuitton vibes, this pattern in the background. And I also feel like you help influence people by overcoming, by being an overcomer, by also speaking their truth with the speak up. We have communication right here. Your communication style could be very direct. Some people could feel and experience it as being abrasive, but I feel like it's very direct. It's concise. It's, you know, you don't pull any punches. And in a world where we're like, oh my God, did I hurt your feelings every minute of the day? Or you can't say that, you know, when it's just an opinion. I feel like you help people to speak up and navigate those waters and do it with confidence and do it, I heard, cleverly. So that could be something. How do you influence people? You help them to know what it is to hold back. Okay, this even looks like a pillowcase that this person threw all their coins in. And maybe you tell people, I had someone tell me a long time ago, and it's like, whenever I make a big purchase, whenever I want to make a big purchase, I go home and I sleep on it and I think about it for a few days. And if it's still on my mind and it's still like that important, then I, you know, obviously think about it, and then I go ahead and buy it if it's still that important. But that might be a good thing to think about. And then with the number 4, stability. So you help people really explore and embrace what it is that is really stable in their lives, and to look at foundations like with the tower falling is always because we built on a foundation that is faulty. Okay, so you help people navigate that as well. How do you influence people? You influence them through their heartbreak, heartache. Yeah, you come during time of crisis. You come in the time when they feel like everything is out of control. Maybe they feel like they're going crazy. They feel upset. They feel alone. They feel heartbroken. They feel betrayed. They feel like the darkness is eating away at them. A lot of you guys, you influence people because I feel like you could even be open about your own mental health, or you could have had betrayals and struggles and what you went through and things like that. So you help people to see that everybody undergoes crisis, and it's just how you navigate through them, around them, over them, whatever, that really makes you stand out. And I feel like you're a first responder, maybe in a spiritual sense, that you're there and you're Johnny on the spot when people need you. Yeah, look. So you are, how do you influence people is that you help them to see when they're being betrayed, when things are not for their highest good, when even they're betraying themselves. This person appears to be severed from the waist down. I don't know if that's what is intended, but I feel like you help people to really understand that, you know, with the amethyst right here, what is no longer serving them, what is not helping them to grow, what is actually harming them. And all of these are thoughts and communication. So you could help people navigate that as well. Situations that are really brutal and tough. Maybe you work in a mental health unit or mental health facility, counseling, anything like that. Yeah, and you help people find peace. You are a leader, and the fact that you enable people to see, look, I started with a little plant and it was nothing, and I didn't have any skills, or I didn't really know what I want to do with my life, and I left this ice cold place where there was nothing here for me. It was a fortress of nothing, a fortress of loneliness and of doom and gloom and sadness and betrayals, and I was locked in by this big dragon. But I managed to loot the dragon, and I left this big dragon's lair. And now I just found some basil plants, and I decided, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to start growing some little plants, and oh wow, look, you can propagate them and start other little plants, and then pretty soon you have this whole little garden area. And I feel like you lead people into believing in themselves that out of a little can come a lot, okay? You can build much with just a little bit of foresight, a little bit of a dream, elbow grease, and optimism and confidence in yourself, and just taking it one step at a time. And yeah, I feel like you help to nurture people that are in a very frail environment or a very frail mental state or emotional state, and you help elevate them. I'm all bringing it closer into a point where they are actually thriving, and then they can see that they too can offer that to other people, that they can help, you know, propagate and really duplicate in a similar fashion what you've done for them, and maybe they aspire to become like you. That almost looks like a little crown on her head right here, but I feel like pile number 2, you inspire people. And you influence people by what is very grounded, what is very earthy. You help them to feel like, okay, I'm connected to earth, whereas once upon a time it was just ice. Total ice capades, and maybe they had to be like a show pony, and now they get to really bring things to the ground, and maybe perhaps they have like a little plant business and they start selling off plants, and it grows and grows. And I've known, you know, there are businesses out there where they actually have a thriving business simply lending out their plants or renting out their plants into luxury hotels and things like that, and they go in and take care of the plants, and nobody has to worry about taking care of them. And when they start looking kind of icky, they swap them out for something new, and so on and so forth. So I feel like innovative, that's what you help people do. You help people bring their skills and tend to them in such a manner with tenderness and love that whatever they have grows, and they can expand from there. And that's a very hopeful place. The Fool. Yeah, you help people take chances. You help people have hope. You help people have that innocence to travel lightly, and to have a renewed optimism on life, on health, on hope, on love, and all the things. So that's what I have for you. Pile number 2. Much love to you. Until next time, namaste. Hi, pile number 3. My name is Griselle with Tough Doll Tarot. If you chose this lovely image on the right-hand side of your screen, then this message is for you. How do you influence people? Pile number 3, I just want to take a moment to thank all of you guys who've subscribed. I really appreciate it. Appreciate your support. Thank you so much for the comments as well. I'm interested in finding out what it is that you would like readings on, so feel free to drop those in the comments below. Plural, Griselle. Oh, hello. How do you influence people? Keep your guard up. With this being backwards, I didn't even know. Was that even upside down? I didn't know it. Okay. So I feel like you help people to really not be so cautious, not have such high walls. You influence people by really, I heard downsizing, but I feel like you influence people by helping to see that not everything is a trap, not everything needs to be warded off, not everything needs to be looked at as if it's dangerous. And I resemble that remark. Pile number 3, I feel like you could have walls built really high up. People can't come close to you, and so on and so forth. So you help people understand that when you're throwing up such high walls, such high guards, I heard such high resistance, you in effect, you imprison yourself in the same manner. So you're keeping everything else at bay, but you yourself are in an isolated prison. How do you influence people? Trust. Oh my goodness, stop. Okay, so you influence people in having trust, faith in the power of the universe. Pile number 3, who is you? I love this. This is so beautiful. I feel like, first of all, let's talk about trust in general. I feel like trust right here with all the sparkles and the hands being featured. Yeah, this could definitely be like being prayerful and hoping, you know, that the big guy upstairs or that spirit or that God or that other people will do their best and so on and so forth. Not to hurt you or not to try to take advantage of you and things like that. Why do we put up walls? Because we've been hurt or we've been taken from or we've been used and abused. that kind of a thing. But I also feel like it's deeper than that and yet more 3D than that. I feel like pile number 3, what this is saying is that you help people. You help people to trust in their own hands. Like, even if troubles come, when I lower my barriers, that you have the hands capable to deal with it. You can open up a can of whip ass, okay? I'm just saying. Or you can bring that pimp hand out and deal with things if you need to. But I feel like how you influence people is that you help them to trust once again and experience moderation. I don't know anything about that, by the way. I don't even know how to spell it. So we're just here talking about what Spirit wants to talk about. And these are walls that you help people to go, okay, you have walls around everything. Are they warranted? Is this comfortable for you? Are you happy with these walls? So you influence people by really examining their nets, and they're even people around you can even be like, gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. And you're like, okay, well, what exactly did you gotcha? What is this gotcha about? So there could be an element of craftiness, or you're dealing with people that are hyper aware, hypersensitive. Oh, PTSD, that would make perfect sense. Pile number 3, let's see what else we have for the, okay? But you help people to see that they have trust, that they're fully capable. Maybe perhaps you journey with them and help them experience their past, their history, what it is that they have like PTSD about, if that's, a thing. And then you help them to see, look, you navigated this, you survived this, but not only that, you are thriving in this. Now, where you can even thrive more is learning when to put up the caution, put up the walls, and when to lower the barriers just slightly. Having the full awareness and capability that the spider, she can spin this web at any point in time and repair it. The wind can blow and kind of tear it down, or debris, or somebody can tear down the walls. But even so, that you can always go back and repair it and do what you got to do, right? If it winds up being a place that you've made a mistake perhaps. And I feel like you lead people, you influence people to really examine their barriers with mankind, their barriers, mental barriers and blocks about what they feel, about spirit, about their connection, their own spirituality, their life here, their abilities as well. So I feel like you help people examine all the walls, okay? Let's see what else comes up. Now, I said this in pile 1 and 2, but for pile 3 and 4, 3, no, there's no 4, sorry, 2 and 3, these cards right here just jumped out and they landed in a pile, their respective piles. So I was pulling them according to, and they just jumped out. So pile 2 and 3, Spirit just like dumped them on here. They wanted to speak loud and proud. So here we are. And then for pile 1, I had to really work at, pulling them. So how are you influencing people? 2 of Wands, you help them see what is available for them, that they can have a choice. Continue acting and doing things as you've always done. You'll be safe in your own little bubble. But are you happy? Do you have emotional, spiritual, physical fulfillment? All the things, right? You help people to look at things, observe, and maybe go to a different destination, or help them to pick something that's slightly different. This wand is taller than the other. So it's like, yeah, bringing down the barriers. You want to go to the past, which is where your hand is now, or the people that encounter you, or the people that you are influencing. That's where their hand is now. On the taller wand. And it's like, well, don't you want to go a little bit lower, and, baby steps kind of a thing. So yes, the Knight of Cups. So you influence people by helping them take a chance once again on how they're feeling emotionally, but maybe being even open to love again. This could be influencing people that have not had love in their life in a long time. All forms of love. Okay, friendship love, agape, eros, all of the loves. Pizza love. Pile number 3, how do you influence people? You help them to get on their horse. You help them to navigate and move forward. Yes, you provide a spark. What is this violin bleeding hearts right here? That is a plant also. It's a beautiful plant. But interesting. Okay, so maybe I feel like you influence people by helping listen to their symphony and helping to draw it into the 3D, you're like a conductor. And you're like, look, you've had these experiences, and they are valid, they are true, but maybe perhaps you can use that to connect with other people. You're not the only one that has PTSD. You're not the only one. I follow this girl who has, what did she call it? Oh, bipolar disorder, something like that, on TikTok. And she is hilarious. I follow her because she laughs at everything. She laughs at herself all the time. But she talks about, like, you know, how she works at Walmart and her husband works at Walmart, and they both, I think it's schizophrenia. I don't know. I'm so sorry. I forgot what she has, because for me, it's more her humor in it and her embracing the fact that this is my life and I'm just going to live it, and it's not perfect and life is messy. And I think she's just incredibly beautiful. Her vulnerability is so beautiful. If you guys know what I'm talking about, then put it in the description box below. I'm curious to see if you guys know. But anyways, I feel like very much like that you are able to influence people by helping them to share their maybe heartache, heartbreak, that they can actually love again, that they can live again, that they can be optimistic, that they can lower their guard up just a little bit, and that they have confidence that they can self-protect if need be. And that's an incredibly powerful place to be. I also feel like you can help people that have undergone things like SA or DV, right? I'm using those words because y'all know that the YouTube gods do not like it. They've decreed that you can't speak bluntly. So I temper my speech. Pile number 3, you influence people with a magic prayer. And those hands were actually in prayer as well. That's really cool. So you help people to believe in something bigger than them, in a bigger plan, in something otherworldly. I feel like also with the magic prayer, you help people to even be inspired to get in connection with spirit once again. A lot of us that have been broken, stomped on, trampled on, our dreams destroyed or whatever, or have PTSD, or we've been in you know what, life has a way of beating you. Let's just say that. So whether it's self-induced or allowed, or it doesn't make a difference if it was done to you, that kind of a thing, I feel like you influence people because you help them look up. You help them to feel the sun on their skin, to get their own downloads. You help them. I'm even feeling like attire. I feel like people could start dressing like you or kind of emulating you pretty quickly. Also, I feel like with these, it looks like butterfly wings on her eyes. It's like a mask. I feel like you help people to really unmask themselves, to really become more their most authentic self, like that girl I was telling you about on TikTok, but also that they connect more with spirit and have a trust in something that's higher and bigger than us. And that's really beautiful. Pile number 3, you guys seem to be like pretty straightforward. Actually, how do you influence people? Yes. So you help them come out of deep, dark despair. You help them to see that they're not alone, that they're not destitute, that they might have, you know, I mean, mental health issues are real. Absolutely. But I feel like you help people to see that we all have a little bit of mental health going on, even if it's not official, even if it's undiagnosed and things like that. But simply because you feel separated is not a reality that you are separated. And there are ways to mitigate that. And I feel like you help people to feel all inclusive. You help them to feel like they're a part of something. I just saw 1111. You help them to feel safe and balanced. 1111, that's my cue to talk about foundations, to talk about things that are solid. And you give people this platform to be able to be themselves and to know that, yeah, they're gonna be shaky at first and get their guard down, and it might be like one of those shades where you got to pull it, tug, and it spins up. That's old school anyways. It's like a window shade, old school window shade anyways. But I feel like you help people to really navigate that and be okay with like the mistakes, right? Because mistakes are just tools that we learn from. Why are we any different from children? Actually, we're not. So I feel like we're too concerned with being perfect in this like perfection society and the Instagram aesthetics, which is wonderful and lovely, but also unrealistic. I feel like you help people understand that, you know, people are people. So why should it be? You and I should get on so awfully. Okay, so You help people get in tune with their heart chakra. You influence people, yes, by connectivity, by feeling like, okay, I get you, you get me. We have similar emotional needs and things like that, mental, spiritual, physical, all the things. I feel like you help people to feel like they're part of a tribe, part of your tribe. They're all, again, inclusive if they want to, and it is a choice. Again, something about music, maybe you help people to get in touch with, like, they can sing or they can whatever in order to lower their walls and feel like they're contributing to society, and that, you know, judgment, people are going to judge regardless, but to be okay with that because we don't care. Yeah. So the death card reverse, that's interesting. So we're going to pull some more cards to find out a little bit more about this. But with the death card reverse, this is about not letting go of things. Oh, well, we have a card right here. What are we not letting go of? Emperor. Yeah, you have dominance over your own life. And I feel like this is not letting go of a given talent, a gift, a human right to be able to be autonomous and to be able to live your life according to how you see fit, but also to be able to have that interaction with people. Even this person has a wall up, right? He's like a knight, presumably, and he's all ready to be a knight. And it's like, well, I can't, I'm a knight. But she's all soft and beckoning. And okay, the dominance over logic over emotion and the mind over the heart. It signifies that concentration, structure, stability, and focus is required if you want to make your ideas and dreams a reality. Yeah, so structure. And the Emperor is about taking the bull by the horns. I'm like, I almost said by the balls. That's not what I meant anyway. So yes, this is how you influence people. You help them to face what it is head on. And I feel like very much like that girl. I'm going to have to find it. That girl on TikTok that she shares about her life. She makes like no apology. And she's just so open about things and how things have happened. How I think she works at, I don't know, one of the counters, one of the food counters, and how she handed over, she noticed a cookie on the floor, and she's like, well, what's going on? Well, apparently she had a psychotic illusion. What do they call them? I can't remember right now. But she thought that she was giving the cookie to someone when she was really giving the cookie to no one. So, yeah. 4, once again, so 4 and 4 is structure. You help people to process, yeah, their pain, their emotions. I hear their delusions, you know, honestly, all of the things that are really causing heartache and heartbreak. And I feel like, you know, mental health is not a laughing matter. That's not the point that I'm getting across. The point is how you feel about it and what you do with it and how you could really heal yourself with a lot of humor, with not taking things so seriously, but most of all with not caring what other people think is what I'm feeling. So, you know, allowing things to be, we're all going to care to some extent, but not to the extent that we form barriers that nobody can reach or that we can't indeed get away from those barriers because we've established them to be so high. So how do you influence people? Pile number 3, the Hierophant. And pile number 3, I don't even know if I said it because I'm still half asleep, but I do have another channel called PsychicMD where I have over 700 videos for your viewing pleasure. Also, I have giveaways on both channels, and not a ton of people are entering them. So I have August 2024 giveaway. These readings are timeless. So the Hierophant, I feel like you influence people by giving them sovereignty over their own lives, but also seeking, like with this antenna, there's actually a word for that, but I forgot it. And you give them the keys to be able to really tune in and tap into something higher than themselves. I feel like you give them hope, you activate their heart chakra. And with that, there's a ton of green right here. Some blues, you help them to speak their truth. You help them to really come on into themselves, right? I feel like you influence people by being expressive, emotive, is that a word? And also with all the yellow right here, to experience that warmth, that radiance with connecting with other people. Our hearts can get really, really sad if we are isolated for too long, even though I always deny this. I'm like, that is not true. I'm fine. Fine. maybe not so fine. Okay. Sorry, I am hungry and it is super early. Apparently my thing is like waking up at 4 a.m. to do these readings because, you know. But I'm going to say pile number 3, you influence people by really getting in touch with their own energy and by succumbing to something bigger than ourselves and by allowing Spirit to really change and transform things, and by transforming how people view themselves first, but also the world second. And the biggest thing is their barriers. To be a little bit more vulnerable. Yes, to look at things from a different perspective. How is that not beautiful with all this amethyst? I feel like you inspire healing. You inspire a different way of thinking, a different way of looking at things, a paradigm shift, if you will. She's even holding on from a tire. I didn't even see that before. I've had these cards for a long time and used them quite a bit. But yeah, I feel like you help them see that their life is indeed beautiful. You help them to find the magic, and you activate the crown chakra as well as the heart chakra by teamwork, by cooperative energy, by collective thinking. And I don't mean drones. I don't mean we are Borg, that kind of a thing. But I mean that, you know, we are all a part of each other in the long run. So that's what I have for you. Much, much love to you. Until next time, pile number 3, namaste.